Mario Kart is the best selling racing series of all time, a feat it wouldn't have been able to reach without its stellar tracks. I've decided to rank all 145 tracks in the series to see which of those tracks is the very best and which is the very worst. This list includes all of the tracks from Super Mario Kart, Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. All tracks will be judged on their original iterations from their original games, no retro tracks, and no tracks from the arcade games, although I'd be happy to update this list if someone fancied sending me the 3 arcade machines. Most of the tracks in the franchise are pretty good, but Mario Kart certainly has its share of stinkers. So let's start off with the very worst. Bowser Castle 2 SNES is the most frustrating course in Mario Kart history, with plenty of sharp corners, annoyingly placed thwomps and even a dead end, which might be a shortcut, but I could never cross it with a feather. Not only is the ice in Snowland super slippery, but the screen is constantly jittering while you're driving on it. The coin placement is weird and there are water hazards placed right in the middle of the track. Ghost Valley 2 features stupid 90-degree turns along with bottomless pits. The track is so narrow, good luck if you get a mushroom in the item box. The 180-degree turns in Mario Circuit 3 slow you down to a halt and aren't very fun. Other than that, there's nothing special about this course. Mario Circuit 4 is basically Mario Circuit 3 with a little more leniency with the turns and a few warp pipe obstacles thrown in. Wario Stadium N64 is just too long of a course. The constant mud hills are nothing too interesting either. It's a chore of a track. Bowser Castle 1 GBA is an okay track, it's just a bit too short and simple. One turn and a couple of jumps. Donut Plains 2 is fun for the first half, but towards the end of the track there are some annoying walls in the grass that can really slow you down if you hit them. And the loose controls in this game make that too easy to do. Vanilla Lake 1 is only really fun past the first lap when everybody's cleared the obstacles. Before that, there's too many ice blocks in your way and they're too hard to avoid without going off the track. The barrierless bridges in Cheep Cheep Island make it too easy to be knocked into the water. Other than that, it's another okay beach level. Much better than Bowser Castle 2 on the same console, Bowser Castle 3 is much more open and much less infuriating. But the thwomp placements are not easy to try to get around. There's nothing wrong with Donut Plains 1. It's a fun and functional but otherwise unremarkable track, as are the next lot of tracks coming up. Figure 8 Circuit feels like it came straight out of a Formula 1 game. It's not bad, there's just nothing to say about it. It isn't even themed after any Mario character. Mario Circuit 1 is the same, but at least it's a track from the original game that isn't infuriating. Peach Circuit has a little more going on with some varied corners, and is a good standard opening track. Luigi Raceway is just a circle, but it's cool that a hot air balloon comes down to give you an item. Mario Circuit 2 is a little more exciting as it has a jump, which if you miss it, can drop you a good number of places. Luigi Circuit Wii is an okay starting track with a couple of boosts and shortcuts. And Toad Circuit is almost identical but slightly longer and you can glide. Super exciting stuff. Mario's tracks tend to be a bit longer than Luigi's tracks, as is the case with Mario Raceway. But longer only means a couple more turns, it's still fairly generic. And Mario Circuit DS looks very similar to Mario Raceway with a couple more shortcuts and obstacles. Choco Mountain has a bunch of moving obstacles that you have to avoid and it's quite fun, but man if it isn't really hard to not spin out on some of them jumps. Riverside Park is a course! And besides that, it's cool that you're required to use the boost or you'll fall in the water. Shy Guy Beach is a fine beach course with a couple annoying patches of grass to manoeuvre around. The pirate ship in the background can also shoot cannonballs at you. Cheep Cheep Cape was only made to show the player Mario Kart 7's new underwater driving. It's not bad, but it doesn't do anything special with the concept. I honestly can't see the inspiration behind Ice Ice Outpost. It's just an okay course that only really uses a branching path design to make it look less bland. Ghost Valley 3 is a good challenging course that isn't cheap. The bottomless pits are all in fair locations and the course is wide enough where you will not have a problem staying on. Daisy Circuit is another generic themed course, but it's a little more interesting about the routes you can take and the shortcut. It also has pretty statues. Lakeside Park is Riverside Park, with a troll jump pad that can send you back a quarter of the map. It's not too hard to avoid though if you slow down. Bowser Castle 4 is a well designed and fair Bowser Castle that has a few obstacles to avoid and places where you have to be careful to avoid falling into the lava. Desert Hills kind of comes off as just another desert level, but that doesn't mean it's bad. There's ample opportunities for shortcuts over the sandhills, and the scary sun from Mario 3 shoots fireballs at you. Yoshi Valley features a cool concept where there's a large number of paths you can take and it doesn't tell you what place you're in. It's really hard to navigate though, and I still to this day don't know the optimal path to take. Wario Colosseum is the only course that has just 2 laps, That's because just like Wario Stadium N64, it's too long and it's a bit too windy. I give it credit for having this cool metal aesthetic that makes it stand out from all the other courses. Making that jump in the middle is also pretty fun. Donut Plains 3 is the only course in which the hop is required to not fall in the water. Other than that, it's another good playable course from Super Mario Kart. I love the concept of using the island from Wii Sports Resort in multiple Nintendo games, and I hope that this isn't the last we see of it. This is a good long course, but for a Mario Kart 7 track, it feels a little flat. Unlike Vanilla Lake 1, all of the ice blocks in Vanilla Lake 2 are bunched together, making it a mad dash to smash through the blocks to get out ahead for the rest of the race. The best designed Bowser Castle from Super Mario Kart. Bowser Castle 1 only has a few sharp corners, and the rest of the race is jumping over lava and avoiding thwomps, as it should be. Bone Dry Dunes feels like a pretty lackluster attempt at giving Dry Bowser his own course. Actually racing on it though, it isn't too bad, and there is a cool alternative anti-gravity route. Yoshi Falls is another track that is just a circle. What makes it interesting is the decision to stay on high land and get the boost pads, or to go low and get the item box while risking falling off of the waterfall. Choco Island 1 is a good track with no stupid turns. A wrong turn only means being slowed down slightly and not crashing into a wall, being sent straight to 8th place. Be sure to avoid those piranha plants. The Monty Moles in Moo Moo Farms makes it a more menacing track than it may first appear. Broken Pier is another fun ghost track like Ghost Valley 3, but with more opportunities for shortcuts and a lot more jumping around. For a generic course, Mario Circuit GBA is surprisingly fun. It's a little more open, allowing for better uses of mushroom shortcuts, and even an alternative pit stop that leads to a speed boost. The beach tracks in Super Mario Kart are some of the best tracks in the game due to the lack of corners. It's one of the more fun circle tracks where it has a little variation in what path you can take. Water Park. What a great name for a course. This track's used to show off the underwater anti-gravity sections and does a good job of it. It also has a cool gliding section where you have to avoid obstacles. Another batch of Mario themed tracks. Mario Kart Stadium stands out for its pretty awesome nighttime aesthetic and its wide design. Mario Circuit Wii is a great intermediate track featuring Goombas, Chain Chomp and a very useful mushroom shortcut. Mario Circuit 8 is a little bit better with its anti-gravity section showing Peach's castle from an upside down perspective. Shroom Ridge is a nice easy-going track with some slow cars that are easy to avoid and an open cliffside towards the end. Toad's Turnpike is similar to Shroom Ridge but on a much narrower road where avoiding other cars becomes an interesting challenge. Fraps Snowland is one of the more difficult tracks from Mario Kart 64, with all of those snowmen placed everywhere, but with a little planning you can avoid slipping into them. One of the more fun early Bowser Castles, Bowser Castle 2 has cool uses of the jump pads that will send you straight into the lava if you use the wrong one with that mushroom. Yoshi Desert is one of the best looking desert levels with a Yoshi Sphinx and pyramids in the background and a random oasis. It's pretty fun to race on too. DK Pass isn't one of the best snow hill levels, but it's a good track nonetheless with some destructive giant snowballs. Like Ice Outpost, Wild Woods is another DLC track where it's hard to see where they drew inspiration from. It's a good track though with split paths, water currents and a lot of boost pads. Peach Beach, a short track but a great one. The changing tide changes the course from lap to lap, and I like that the Cataquacks actually chase you down. And here we have the first and the worst Rainbow Road. Rainbow Road GBA really goes all out on the boost pads, and it's the easiest Rainbow Road to fall off of. If you're skilled though, you can use the abundant jump pads to make huge shortcuts in the course. Sliding on Choco Island 2's big mud patch is fun. A good, varied Mario Circuit. I really like Mario Circuit GC's bumpy end part where you're avoiding the Goombas. Ghost Valley 1 is a well-designed course with the best use of a feather shortcut. Boo Lake is almost identical to Ghost Valley 1, although all the boos floating around makes it more visually appealing. Also, you can do the shortcut without the feather. Moonview Highway is a speedy mess, and I guarantee you will get hit by cars several times on this track. But if you manage to pull off a perfect run where you hit all the boost pads and don't get hit, it's so satisfying. Cheap Cheap Beach is a nice, well-designed beach course with reserved uses of bridges and a lack of annoying deep water obstacles. The visuals in Luigi Circuit GBA is what pushes it much higher than other tracks with the same name. Riding around this story track with well-placed puzzle hazards is pretty enjoyable. Although I find them annoying on some courses, Koopa Beach 2 uses its deep water holes as the main mechanic of the course. They're not too hard to avoid, and you feel like a pro when you do. Making the decision to completely ride around the edge or to fly closer to the Sarlacc pit to cut some time is the main appeal to Dry Desert. This slippery snow level is good because it doesn't overwhelm you with obstacles. Sherbetland N64 also has those cute 64-bit penguins. I picked Sherbetland GC over the Nintendo 64 one because I think the narrower course makes the race a little less annoying. Sherbetland GC also has those cute 128-bit Shy Guys. Speaking of Shy Guys, here is Shy Guy Falls. The best part about this track is the upstream section where you're trying to catch the falling boost pads. But I always drive into the grass on the upper cave near the end, and I don't know why. Yoshi Circuit. Who knew that a course based on the outline of Yoshi would actually be fun to race around? I think Dragon Driftway is based on Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, although the course is decorated with Lakitus. Anyway, like its namesake, this track requires a lot of drifting. Another track filled with random pedestrian cars, except Mushroom Bridge puts them into tight tunnels and has giant bombs on the track. There are some decent shortcuts, and you can even go up the side of the bridge if you're bored. Toad Harbour is a cool track with loads of different paths that you can explore, some which are quicker than others, and some which give you more items. The theme of the course is pretty nice too. Delfino Square has a mix of wide and narrow areas. The bridge at the end with the boost pad is unique, where the amount of a speed boost from it depends where you are in the pack. The first half of Bowser's Castle N64 is really cool, where you have to navigate past the moving thwomps. It isn't higher on this list though, because climbing the spiral tower can be pretty annoying on this game. Rainbow Road 8 looks pretty and has a cool space station theme to it, but it isn't quite as fun to play as other Rainbow Roads. There aren't many opportunities to boost, and it's honestly a little too easy. Still a great track though. Wario's Gold Mine is filled with bottomless pits and can be pretty difficult to avoid if you're going too fast. The best part is inside the gold mine and trying to make the alternative route without getting hit. Rosalina's Ice World is a great, fair ice track where its difficulty doesn't stem from the fact that it's slippery. It's also really pretty too. In Koopa Troopa Beach, get a mushroom and boost off the ramp through the little gap in the mountain. It's very fun. There are also other ramps that you can manipulate to get further ahead, or you can screw it up. Cheeseland is weird, and it makes me want Mauser as a playable character in Mario Kart. With several careless mice blocking your path and a couple of big jumps, it's a pretty decent track. Thwomp Ruins is fun on its first lap, but after the second lap, the middle opens up, allowing for another Wario's Gold Mine faster alternate route situation. You can also risk jumping on the platform at the end for a slight shortcut. Daisy Cruiser is one of the most unique environments for a track, especially when the ship begins swaying, causing obstacles to move. From boats to planes, Sunshine Airport allows you to drive around or in the airplanes as you drive around the course. You can also pretend you're a plane yourself. Mushroom City is like Yoshi Valley in that there are multiple paths to take, but you can actually gain your bearings. You also might want to look out for where the easier cars to avoid are going when making the decision of what path to take. Technically 4 tracks in one, Animal Crossing's layout and obstacles change slightly depending on what season the game gives you. It's a cool idea and it works pretty well. However, I feel that any other Nintendo property would have made for a better Mario Kart track than Animal Crossing. Watch out for the cows in lap 3. Moo Moo Meadows is a great beginner course, introducing the new trick mechanic and having some fairly easy obstacles to avoid. But it's still fun for better players to go back and play. Cooper Cape was the original course to introduce water currents. The highlight of the course is speeding down the narrow tunnel, avoiding the electric bars. Daisy Hills is another great beginner's course that is both visually appealing and fun to race on. There are good opportunities for using mushrooms for shortcuts, and flying around those hot air balloons is really enjoyable. I feel like Super Bell Subway is supposed to be based on Super Mario 3D World, but I don't see the connection. Nevertheless, this track is great for experts who want to risk getting hit by the trains while using the faster lower path, and those who would rather take the higher path to avoid the obstacles below. It's really neat that Shy Guy Bazaar is a track based on Super Mario Bros. 2, which I don't think had been done prior. That's pretty bizarre. Toad's Factory has one of the best uses of the panels that increase and decrease your speed. Some are advantageous, but some might get you hurt. The final section with the mud can be tricky to pull off if you get hit. I'm surprised this track was in the Mushroom Cup. The best thing about DK's Jungle Parkway is using your mushrooms at the end of the course to fly up the side of the mountain and pass everyone. DK's Snowboard Cross features one of the only good uses of half-pipe ramp, allowing you to traverse around the snow and around the Shy Guys. Speeding down the hill section and using the bumps to perform tricks is also great fun. Rainbow Road N64 is just too long to be ranked high. Apart from that though, it's so pretty to look at, especially the rainbow character drawings in the sky. And it's a good challenge trying to avoid all of those loose chain chomps. It also features one of the biggest course skips in the series history, if you're clever enough. Grumble Volcano is another dynamic track where parts of the floor crumble away as the race goes on, making the third lap a great challenge. Wario Stadium DS is why boost pads were invented. Miss one and you're going to be stuck in the mud pretty good. And here is a Nintendo franchise that makes a great Mario Kart track. Mute City plays a bit like a slower F-Zero but with boosts, and since the whole track is anti-gravity, you can bash into people at your heart's content. Kalimari Desert is nothing special, but I find the train mechanic really interesting. If you can sneak past it before everyone else, you have a huge advantage in the race. Or, you know, you could just power through it with a star. The sunset makes this level look gorgeous. If you crash into the teepees, a shy guy actually clings onto you and you have to shake him off. Sunset Wilds is a great track that I'm surprised we've never seen again. Another difficult track from Mario Kart Wii's Mushroom Cup. Don't perform too many tricks or you'll end up shooting yourself right off of the course. Dolphin Shoals uses the underwater mechanics in a pretty unique way with the pipes blowing air up that you have to balance yourself along. Tricking off of the eel is pretty sweet too. Blasting out of the cannon for the first time made DK Mountain such a memorable track. But it's not downhill from there. Well, actually it is, and you'll have to avoid the falling boulders and large holes until you get to the rocky bridge at the end, where people will knock you off. Royal Raceway shakes up the formula of the generic tracks by letting you blast off to Peach's castle, which you can actually drive around if you'd like. For the rest of the track you have to make sure you stay on the course, or you could go careening straight into the lake. Mario Circuit 3DS is the best Mario Circuit, allowing you to actually drive through Peach's castle and letting you glide to the end of the track. Bowser's Castle GC has all you need for a Bowser's Castle, including thwomps, massive fireballs and a mechanical Bowser. Dry Ruins is the best desert level. It has a useful half-pipe ramp, you can trick off of the pillars, and it has an area that fills up with sand as you are racing. You can also leap through the air with a mushroom near the end section. Sky Garden is essentially a beginner's Rainbow Road. There are no sides, but there's this cotton stuff which stops you from falling off the edge. Grab a mushroom and you can jump over loads of sections of the track. Bowser Castle 3 is the best Bowser Castle from the SNES or GBA games. Its corner and thwomp placements are very fair, and you can manoeuvre around it all as long as you're paying attention. You must also watch out for the areas where you can land in the lava or get hit by fireballs on the jumps. Alpine Pass feels like such a complete course. Work your way through a cave and then you're treated to a great looking gliding section before you work your way back up the mountain and you can do it again. Courses with sections rather than laps are some of the best courses, and that's definitely the case with Mount Wario. It's like a Winter Olympics medley. But those trees are just as annoying as they were in that one Spec Op on Modern Warfare 2. Talk about cool level designs. Seeing the ghost paintings on the walls in Luigi's Mansion is pretty nostalgic, and those walking trees are super creepy. Not only does Ribbon Road look really cool, but it's a lot of fun to race on due to how many jumps they put in the track. Jumping in Mario Kart Super Circuit is a blast to do, and they realised it with this great track. Controlling your kart through the onslaught of obstacles in Waluigi Stadium can be pretty bonkers. Bowser Castle DS uses some cool mechanics, one of which is the rotating bridge, which falling off can cause a huge loss in time. The spinning floor also has a secret exit with a nice shortcut. Banshee Boardwalk is a ghost level that focuses on bridges rather than random floating platforms. It's also very visually appealing with a giant Cheep Cheep. Luigi Circuit GC is the best opening track. It's straightforward like the rest of them, but the fact that you have to drive through the same area twice means you can get hit by the items that the people in lower places have, which doesn't really happen in any other track. The literal twisted nature of Twisted Mansion allows for some fun anti-gravity and gliding sections. The interior and exterior both have some nice opportunity for shortcuts. Rainbow Road SNES actually benefits from its lack of walls, as bumping into the corners in the original game was easy and can be a huge detriment. This course is all about how well you can drive, but is wide enough that it's very fair. It's also really nice to look at and has great music. Bowser's Castle 3DS is a pretty crazy course. Lava underwater? It actually works well and looks really great. There's also a cool gliding section at the end. Rainbow Road DS puts tons of boost pads on the track, so if staying on the course wasn't difficult enough for you, you can actually go faster. It's a nice risk versus reward system. The track also looks really pretty and even has a loop-de-loop. And Rainbow Road GC is very similar to Rainbow Road DS. However, the boost pads are in better positions and stars can actually shoot down from the sky that you can pick up and use. In place of a loop-de-loop, you can ride on the Space Elevator. Now here's a pretty track for you. Koopa City is this weird futuristic track that is a real treat for the eyes. The aesthetic is so cool, and like I said earlier, racing in a storm is so much fun. The track is also pretty challenging with some tight corners that you might have trouble with when using heavy characters. Just look at the giant mechanical Bowser slamming both sides of the track with his fists. That's a sight to behold. The visuals of the anti-gravity sections in Bowser's Castle 8 and the music also make this a standout track. However, Bowser's Castle Wii has the better course design. The confrontation with the mechanical Bowser in the Wii version requires more strategy, whether you can time it right to get through the middle. The thwomp staircase and bouncy eruptions at the end are a fun challenge to navigate around. Back to a less hardcore track, Peach Gardens allows us to explore the exterior of Peach's castle in a fully realised manner, equipped with chainless chomps, Monty moles and some flower beds that you can plough through with a mushroom. Rainbow Road Wii is elevated above others thanks to how it incorporates the trick system. Rolling around corners with the half pipe feels very sweet. Even sweeter is if you can use a mushroom to leap the large gaps in the middle of the course. Excite Bike Arena uses another property extremely well. It captures the up and down nature of the original NES game to a T, and stands out as a great unique Mario Kart track. Sweet Sweet Canyon is the most colourful track in Mario Kart's history. It looks spectacular. It's not too bad to race around either, with its multiple paths and use of anti-gravity, underwater and gliding. I know it's based off of Super Mario Galaxy or 3D World, but it kind of reminds me of that one level in Sonic Colors. Piranha Plant Pipeway is a speedy underground track that features excellent use of the underwater mechanic. It has a cool classic look to it as well. Wuhu Mountain Loop is an enormous course thanks to its 3 variant sections. Added to that, there are a ton of alternate paths and shortcuts in this level that don't require the use of mushrooms. It's very open to exploration, which you can't say about many Mario Kart tracks. Dino Dino Jungle is a bizarre course. Where in the Mushroom Kingdom were these dinosaurs hiding? And none of them look like Yoshi. You'll have to avoid these giant dinos throughout the course. It also includes tricky bridges to navigate. Maple Tree Way is a fun, varied track with wide areas, narrow areas, and a cannon. It's fun to avoid the giant wigglers, and you can also knock mushrooms and bananas out with piles of leaves. Hyrule Circuit doesn't just rest on the fact that it's a Zelda-themed track. The course is well designed to boot, especially the Hyrule Castle section where you can get lucky and get a lift up to the Master Sword. Talk about your good music. DK Jungle is a really great looking course based on Donkey Kong Country Returns, with some uniquely designed enemies, a great gliding section, and a nice short alternative route near the end. Baby Park is the absolute most hectic course. As the laps only take around 10 seconds, every single racer is bunched together, meaning that you're going to be getting hit by items from everywhere. That giant Bowser shell is deadly. Cloudtop Cruise's Sky Garden turned to the max with an added airship and lightning section. Adding in any level based on Super Mario Galaxy is a win in my book. Big Blue uses sections extremely well. It's a long, thrilling downhill ride with stunning visuals and incredible music. Feel the beat! Ever wanted to go to a techno rave but you're too young? Just play Electrodrome. There isn't much that's more pumping than crashing onto that last platform before the gliding section. Tick-Tock Clock is a great course based on Super Mario 64. It's got lots of boost pads and big swinging hands to avoid. Don't forget to ride the gears at the end of the track. 90% of what makes Coconut Mall so great is the music. But the other 10% isn't bad either. There's lots of verticality within this mall, as you try to climb the correct staircases and bust out of the mall. Mushrooming across those rough carpet shortcuts is also great fun. And look at your Miis driving the cars. Wario Shipyard has the best use of the underwater mechanic. Driving around a ship that is half sunken and half poking out of the water is pretty exciting. You also have to glide past the swinging anchors. What a course. Airship Fortress is such a cool track based on Super Mario Bros. 3. There are so many obstacles. You have to avoid giant bonsai bills, Monty moles, and the fire in the interior before getting shot out of a cannon to another area of the track. Melody Motorway is such a joy to race through. Driving over glockenspiels and xylophones causes ascending patterns of music to play. Eventually the massive notes will begin to jump up and down, allowing you to perform tricks off of the vibrations. Oh yeah, you knew this track was going to be high up on this list. Waluigi Pinball is a great visually pleasing course. Starting with a launch, you eventually fall off onto the table where you have to avoid other balls, bumpers and flippers. It even comes with its own item roulette jingle. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'd know that there's one course that I have not mentioned yet. Do you know what it is? Here is the number 1 track in all of Mario Kart. Rainbow Road 3DS is the best designed track. Opting to use sections, you have a track that is longer than Rainbow Road N64, but feels incredibly varied throughout. Whereas most Rainbow Roads are one long winding track, Rainbow Road 3DS has different platforms that you have to jump to. Some of these platforms include the rings of different planets. Eventually you land on the moon and you can use the craters to perform tricks off of. After this, you can boost through a large rotating object and then you're gliding through the air and can actually go through these stars to get a boost in speed. It's not just the best Rainbow Road, it's the best course in all of Mario Kart, and I hope we see it as a beautiful HD retro track in the future. Thanks for watching guys, and do you agree with my list? Make sure to put your favourite Mario Kart track in the comments below, just as long as it's not Bowser Castle 2 SNES. can't stand that track. Also remember, if you want to stay up to date with the stuff that I do, then be sure to check me out on Twitter and Twitch. And also I have a WordPress website, so check that out if you'd like as well. Thanks for watching guys, and as always, have fun playing video games.